What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm Christopher Lee. This is Christopher Lee Shreds. Today I'm talking about something that I've been watching. You know, I watch YouTube every morning. You know, it's my cup of coffee. I go to my subscriptions that pop in on my feed and watch the morning videos, and usually, you know, Andertons, the usual suspects for guitar stuff is always popping up. And this morning, I couldn't help but notice that there was a theme for like almost all the uploads. It was like signal chain and, you know, guitar tones and simple things like, where does an overdrive go? Noise gates. You know, do you need them? Do you want them? Do you love them? Do you hate them? That sort of thing. So in honor of my YouTube feed, I'm going to go ahead and continue the journey here, and let's go ahead and check out my signal chain. My chain is pretty simple. Mainly what I try to do in my chain is I try to embellish the amp. This amp is known for having just a killer clean tone. You'll look right here, this is a Marshall 30th anniversary 1962 to 1992. This was 92, and you can see that it's got 3 channels: clean, a crunch, and a lead channel. Now the crunch channel, it does some interesting stuff. It's almost like you can get old JVM style sounds out of it, you know, as long as these buttons aren't engaged. Boom, JVM. Click this and you're getting more like a your classic 900 style sound. You know, once you engage this mode A, and then when you click in mode C, it's like a dirty 900 style. Actually, excuse me, this is more like gain. Like, I don't know. The way I look at it is old JVMs, you know, that kind of like, it's crunchy but not really crunchy. And then you click the button and it's like, oh, now you're getting into like, you know, a very classic AC/DC style sound. And then you click in this third button and it's like, okay, with the third button engaged, you're getting like that GSM 900, 800 feel. Things get really plexi-ish, I guess you could say. But then Marshall took it up. I usually always keep it on the AC/DC style sound on the middle channel. But Marshall really boosted up the way things go on this amp. And then boom, now on the third channel here, this channel 3, you get a gain boost, a mid-shift contour button, you know, kind of scoops it. But as you can tell, I've already got this baby pretty scooped. That's just the way it sounds good with certain guitars, you know. I don't always kill the middle. Sometimes the middle sounds good in the halfway zone, depending on the guitar. But with this Les Paul, it just sounds better scooped with a decent scoop on there. So, and then, you know, I don't usually use the gain boost too often because it's kind of like throwing so much gain on there that it'll feed back in an annoying way. It just becomes squealy. So, you know, to fight the squeal, I usually leave that off because I do boost it with a Troop Screamer up front anyway. I know it's debatable where it starts. Does it start here or does it start there? I like to start from here, okay? So, my signal, of course I have a power supply. And, you know, I'm playing in my room. I'm no longer gigging. But if I wanted to gig, I could. But I don't have a floorboard. Sorry. I don't like Velcro all over my stuff anyway. But I'm not gigging, so there's really no need for me to have a giant board floating around my room. When I'm done, I can throw these all in a grocery bag, stuff them in my closet, and then my floor is clear. But let's start with my first pedal. The first in my signal chain here. So straight from the amp, directly to the first pedal, I like a good reverb. Now, this is a cheap, affordable reverb pedal. It does just about everything I can ask for. It doesn't do these Skyburst style, you know, real long like traily, dad rock stuff. You're not going to get, the Strymon sounds out of it. But, you're going to get a really good sounding reverb. As you can hear it, No reverb. Reverb. And of course it has, 7 different modes. Each one more extreme. And it does, just for fun, let's show you real quick. Channel 7 here. Channel 7 goes for a long way. I made a video on this pedal. You can check it out on my channel. Now, for delay, I do have an effects loop in this amp, but for some reason, the moment you hook up the delay to the effects loop, it kills the power of your lead channel. The channel becomes dull and weak, and your guitar goes from sounding like a fat, monstrous heavy metal machine to a thin, metallic, doesn't sound good. So, I run everything through the front of the amp. I learned that the hard way. The 4-cable method does not really work with my Marshall, but it's not that big of a deal. So, the delay, I keep it simple. Just a Donner pedal. This thing was super cheap. And that's about where I keep it on. I keep it on basically the Pink Floyd setting. The 1, 2, 3, 4. Right around there. You can play, Another Brick in the Wall, Run Like Hell. That's all I need. And then, for my modulations, I like to keep my life simple. I like a pedal that will just let me choose. Right now I've got this, multi-mod pedal, which in one day, in a perfect world, when it goes on sale, I'd have it Line 6 HX1 right here. Because that does it all, and that would be great. But right now I have a chorus setting, so you can really hear that chorus. I mean, it's your classic chorus sound, chorus tone. That's the way I like it. So if you're keeping track, reverb, delay, modulations, and then for here, I like a Klon for an overdrive. Now, it doesn't get more classic than a Klon. I think that, with the, treble right about there, the gain bumped up, and the volume, just a little bit of volume push, you get a great sounding overdrive. Now, for, a boost, I don't mess around with that. For a clean boost, I use this. And this is also in itself a great sounding overdrive, but if you look at those settings on my Tube Screamer, it is set to be a clean boost. That way, when I switch to the lead channel, take off that reverb. When I switch to there, it gives it a nice boost. Without it, pretty weak sounding without it. Then you click it with. Yeah. That's a metal machine. But back to the clean channel. Back to the clean channel. I do have, so that I can, do cool things like, I have my own metalcore. This thing, Chappers on Andertons, he chose this in a blind test to be his distortion. It does do it all, and I like to have, sometimes I do a solo with delay on there. The only way to get that going through the front of the amp is to do it all through your clean, so you're going to need a distortion pedal. That's what I use right there, the metalcore, the Boss ML2 metalcore. It does it all. You can get it to sound, it's pretty heavy metal. It sounds pretty heavy. Because it is pretty heavy. And then, of course, I use a Crybaby, a traditional Crybaby. I don't have anything fancy. Excuse the foot. But yeah, I don't use anything too fancy. I just use a traditional Crybaby wah. What is it? Yeah, there it is. The GC B95. It's what Tom Morello uses. It's what Jimi Hendrix used, and if it's good enough for those guys, it's good enough for me. And finally, in the signal chain, always on, I have a tank of a noise gate. Because a Marshall can be loud, especially when you're boosting it. Excuse the foot. When you boost it, it's loud. So let's go ahead and just turn it off. Right, off. So on the third channel, it just wants, especially with this Les Paul that I'm using, it just wants feedback. I'm not doing anything. I'm just holding the guitar and it wants to feedback. Now engage there you go. Once that's engaged, and freely do my thing because it's no longer going to start screaming and whistling Dixie on me. This thing is a tank because, I tripped over it one day, broke the switch on here. There was an intensity switch. I used to leave it right about this setting anyway on the normal intensity. There was kind of like a genty, snappy kill on there. That switch, like I said, it broke off, but the pedal still works, as you can tell. Not engaged. It wants to feedback. Engaged. There goes the feedback. And you know what? It doesn't really choke your notes out. You can still get a natural feedback if that's what you're going for. So that's the brunt, if you will, of my signal chain. And it's good to embrace a signal chain that I think is, not too crazy. There's room for improvement on my board, or on my, I say board, but really in my chain. One day I could sound so good. And the other thing, I was watching that Andertons video that had fluff, and they're playing through tube amps, and it makes you want to hook up your tube amp, and it makes you want to just rip one going through it, because man. Sounds so good. But like I was saying, my chain can be improved. I'm using very affordable effects because it still sounds good. There's no reason to have a $200 delay pedal. There's no reason to have every single modulation effect on the planet by itself individually done. I like a one pedal that has a nice mix to it. That Flamma pedal cost me $30, and it's got 10 different effects or something crazy. I use it mostly for a chorus. You can hear that chorus real quick. Let's do it. Before we run out of time, I want to keep this sweet and simple. Throw the Flamma reverb with the Flamma chorus. Beautiful. It's beautiful. So, excuse me. But yeah, so there's room for improvement. If I really wanted to get a fancier delay, I could definitely do that one day. The modulation, like I said, I could get an HX1 and be dialed for life because that has everything. And it's Helix quality effects on the board. I would highly recommend it. Do your research on it. You would realize that in the world of modulation, you would just need that one pedal. Really, that's all you need. But yeah, so that's my signal chain. I hope it helped you out. If you were confused about how to do your own chain, where the pedals should go, that's kind of the standard order of things. Wah pedals always go to the, closest to the guitar input, and right after all the pedals, really the wah pedal goes. Same would be with a fuzz. If you had a fuzz, you'd put a fuzz right there too. Your reverbs, you want to put it at the other end of the chain, so that everything gets the effect. And if you have a good working line in or effects loop, if if you have a good effects loop, do it that way too. Like I said, I've tried using my effects loop. It sounds good on every channel except for when you switch to the third channel, which is, the metal channel, the chug. It kills the chug. So watch out for that. I've Googled it, and it's like something to do with the impedance. There might be a way to adjust it, but I'm not going to go trying to, fix something that doesn't necessarily need to be fixed. So I'm happy with my chain going through the front of the amp. That's fine by me. I'm a 90s guy. I was gigging in the 90s, and that's how we did it anyway. So, actually, that's how everyone did it. I had a Line 6 AX212 amp that had everything built in, and I just had 4 channels for each song, and I would switch through, and, I used a buttload of effects, but I had it very simplified through, the Line 6. If I was gigging again, and I was in a gigging band, I'd probably not use any of this. I'd just go straight to my clean channel and get a Pod Go or a Helix. And with a Helix, you could do everything that I just showed you, but quicker and easier. You could program all the sounds into channel A, channel B, channel C, channel D, and then you would have, for each song, you could have user bank 1, 4 channels, and then you've got just endless possibilities. That's how I used to do it with the Line 6 AX212, and I know that's what I would do again if I was gigging. But I'm not gigging, so I can embrace the wonderful sounds of the tube. Because it does sound better in my opinion. Nowadays, it's really hard to make that statement, especially considering, everything sounds so good these days. I have the Line 6 POD Express. When I hook it up to the front of this amp, it sounds gnarly. It sounds amazing. The black version and the red version, I have both because they offer such cool sounds for each one. It was hard not to get both. So that's why I don't really have a Pod Go or a Helix, because I don't really feel like I need one. I have my POD Express, my Pod Express, the black and the red, and I'm good. But like I said, thanks for watching. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe. Help me build the channel. This is for for me to continue to make these videos and bring them to you, new gear and things like that. Let's grow the channel. Let's spread the love. There needs to be more good guitar channels out there where people talk about real stuff and not just gear that's unaffordable. Although, I do have expensive gear. I also have a lot of cheap gear, as you can see from my pedal selection. So keep it rocking. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.